Now that I see it, it actually looks a bit uncanny. Are shoulders supposed to do that? And yes, they are, if you're really flexible at least. So today we are looking at how to get flexible shoulders so that you can learn the Inosuke pose. And also it's much easier to learn than it actually looks. So let's get into it. Why do I even call this the Inosuke pose? So there's this one episode where Inosuke dislocates his shoulders to be able to fit into a hole. Yeah, without context, this sounds even more insane. And this move looks a little bit like we're dislocating our shoulders, but of course we're not actually doing that. But that's why I call it that. And I can show you another exercise that basically uses the same shoulder mechanics, but it looks much more normal. Namely, shoulder dislocates. And again, that is just the name of the exercise. We're not dislocating our shoulders for real. And as you can see, this looks not that scary anymore, right? I think most people are able to do that with a wide grip. And this is also the exercise that we will use to improve our flexibility, because it hits almost every aspect of our shoulder mobility. So let's look at the proper form to do this exercise. So start with your arms in front of your body. Grab a stick with a very wide pronated grip. You can also use a towel or resistance band for this exercise. And then you want to bring your arms slowly over your head and behind your back by keeping your shoulders elevated at the top and depressed at the bottom. And from here you want to reverse the movement and bring your arms back to the front. One important note here, don't rush this exercise. It should take between 5 and 10 seconds for your arms to move from one side to the other, so that you actually get some time under tension. Okay, and now our goal is to move our arms closer over time. And with over time, I mean a time span of weeks or months. So we really want to take it slow here so that we are not injuring ourselves in the process. Also, if you feel any pain, stop the exercise. There should be no clicking, grinding, or pinching. If you do feel any of that, widen your grip until you only feel a stretch. I would recommend doing 2 to 3 sets of 12 repetitions of these every training session to see results. And our goal is to be able to do this at about 1.7 to 1.5 times our shoulder width before moving on to the bar. Okay, so this is basically the first half of unlocking this move. The other half is about the strength you will need to go around the bar. And here we want to learn a move called Skin the Cat. Yeah, I don't really know what's up with the names in this video. We're not harming any cats here. In this move, we are building the core, shoulder and back strength to hang from a bar while threading our legs right through our arms, turning upside down and going into a deep stretch. And we also want to be able to reverse this motion. So, how do we build up to this? Start simple with hanging knee raises. Then move on to high tuck holds. And here you can use one foot on the bar for support to get into the position. Once that feels easy, move on to high tuck knee raises. From here, transition back to a low bar and practice negative skin the cats. When you can do a few of those comfortably, try reversing the motion by using the floor for a little extra push. And eventually, you will build up the strength to do the full move on a high bar without touching the ground. And once you can do between 10 and 15 of these, you're ready for the Inosuke pose. But here's another safety disclaimer. This exercise is not supposed to hurt. It actually shouldn't feel much more difficult on your shoulders than the exercise with the stick. If you feel like you can't move smoothly through your arms, then don't do it. Work more on increasing your strength and flexibility before trying it again. Also, if you have any pre-existing shoulder issues, you might want to stay away from this exercise. It's just not worth getting an injury over. With that said, if you have healthy, conditioned shoulders and want to try it, go to a bar and take a grip slightly wider than in your standard shoulder dislocates with the stick. Now, this is very important. You have to change from a pronated grip to a supinated grip, meaning that your palms should face towards you. Otherwise, this won't work. From here, initiate the skin the cat movement, but instead of stopping, pass completely through your arms for a full 360-degree rotation. And at this point, your shoulders are back in their normal position, but your arms are twisted. And this twisted hand placement is exactly what limits us from spinning basically forever. The anatomical maximum is about 630 degrees, maybe a bit more if you have really flexible wrists, but it's physically impossible to do 2 full rounds without being able to rotate your hands at the same time. Okay, as I just explained, you can continue a bit further past 360 degrees, but keep in mind that it gets incredibly heavy on your wrists from there on, so only attempt that extra rotation if you have bulletproof wrists. Because once again, it's not worth injuring yourself over a party trick, right? But that's it. That's my breakdown of the Inosuke pose. Have fun training, stay safe, thanks for watching, and bye.